please. Dear God, we thank you for all you have given to our Rotary Club and to us personally, and for the many blessings in our lives. We ask for your guidance and strength to show us the way and fill us with courage and wisdom. Help us to remember your love and grace and to be faithful in our service to you. Please give us patience and understanding to face life challenges with grace. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic and the nation under God, indivisible.
Thank you, Faye. That's great. We're going to start off with a very exciting beginning to the meeting here. I'm going to ask Paige to please come on up. We are continuing what we had as a great meeting honoring Dana Williams. Dana McDaniel, thank you. We had a great meeting with Dana, and we appreciate your letting us do that for all of your great service to the community. And Paige, if you'd come and share what we still owe Dana as part of that tribute that you so nicely organized for us.
We have.
Yes.
We're playing wires everywhere, so. At my age, I have to be a little more careful.
You want me to open it?
Wonderful, yes, please.
Okay.
Well, good morning, everyone. A real pleasure for me, and I think a pleasure for all of us and our Dublin AM Rotary Club today. It's an opportunity to recognize a dear friend, and more importantly, a friend of our community and a friend of our community that's served us for so many years in his role, many roles, but last role is our city manager. And Dana, this morning we are honored to present you with a Paul Harris Fellow Award and recognition for the things you've done. And I have a little piece to read, and then I would like to have you and Claudia join us. For all of us that would remember, we now have in the city of Dublin a peace pole. And the peace pole is recognition of Rotary service for the commitments that we do in service internationally. And our peace pole in Dublin has 6 sides, and each of the sides has an inscription in 6 different languages that speaks to Rotary's commitment to service internationally. And we wouldn't have that peace pole in Dublin if it wasn't for 2 people. Claudia, trustee, who worked tirelessly on behalf of our Rotary Club, and Dana McDaniel as our city manager that really shepherd us and shepherd through the process of going through council and P&Z and all the things that it takes to make that happen. And so Claudia, if you would join me up here, and Dana, as I begin this little talk, you can join me up here as well, if you would. The presentation of Paul Harris Fellow recognition is the Rotary Foundation's way of expressing its appreciation for substantial contribution to its humanitarian and educational programs. Rotarians often designate a Paul Harris Fellow as a tribute to the person whose life demonstrates shared purpose with the objectives of the Rotary Foundation. Today, we have the honor and pleasure of recognizing Dana McDaniel as he becomes a Paul Harris Fellow. The contribution to the Rotary Foundation is an investment in the ideal of goodwill, peace, and understanding. That is an ideal that is held high by Rotarians the world over, and one that Dana clearly shares. As Rotary works with such individuals of goodwill, we believe the ideal will become a reality. It gives us great pleasure, Dana, to present these emblems of appreciation given to each Paul Harris Fellow. And Claudia, if you would help me with these.
Claudia?
I've asked Claudia to do the pinning on Dana of our pin and our certificate.
Manslinging.
Drum roll, please. Hey.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. You all know how much it has meant to me over the years to be able to come here and speak to you about the city and give you those updates for many, many years. And I always look forward to coming here and doing that. And when Claudia reached out about this Peace Bowl project specifically, it just couldn't have been a better project at a better time in our history of the city, because we were doing so much with the international community and everything. It was just perfect. And I think the placement of it is perfect, because so many people will see it on a daily basis, but with the Irish festival and everything, it's right in the center of it all. So that, I think it was an incredible project, an incredible thing for the city to be able to recognize the international flavor and peace around the world and within our community itself. So what an honor to be a part of it. And this is a incredible honor. Thank you so much. I mean, I just can't, this is one of my highlights for sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Dana, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. We're gonna do a quick
Need the
photo
rose.
opportunity. While Roberta's doing that, if I can have like Hallie sum up. All right.
Page, move to your right. Page. move.
Remember.
There he is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta. Thank you. Watch the wires here. Yeah, if you don't mind coming around. Very good. Yeah. It's not blinded. Well, we have that thing about blinding our new members.
Yes.
You know, one of the great honors of being in Rotary is that we also get to bring new and young members into the organization. So with great pleasure, Hallie, we thank you very, very much. Here is your official name badge.
Yeah.
Welcome to Dublin AM Rotary. Please tell us a few words about yourself. And she's a transfer from the Columbus Rotary Club.
Sure. Okay. I have been an official Rotarian since 2009 when I started with the Orville, Ohio Rotary Club. We made home of Smucker's Jelly. But I say I've been an unofficial member since I was probably about 5. My dad is a past president. I've been flipping pancakes and marking 5K courses since I could really help. But I'm really honored to join this local club because I've been a member of the Columbus Club for, I think, since 2015 when I moved to Columbus from Cincinnati. And my husband and I live in Murfield with our 2 little boys, Colin and Lane. And this is a great way for us to get involved more in our local community. I couldn't get downtown anymore with a new job. So this has been a really great fit. So thank you for being so welcoming to me. I work for NetJets in aviation. On the operations side, I've had some sales questions this morning, so I've been put to the test already. But happy to answer any questions about that. I'm also a certified sleep consultant if anyone needs help sleeping. But really excited to get involved in our community. I operate the Moms of Murfield Facebook group. So have really gotten involved with families in this community and just really excited to bring it all together. So thank you.
And welcome. Well, Hallie, welcome. Really great to have you joining. Thank you. I belonged to that Moms of Muirfield for years and had no idea you were behind all that. So thanks for what you do for our community too. Let's continue with a few more announcements. Let's see. I've asked Gene Oliver if he could just say a word about what's happening with the Pro-Am. You're also, Pro-Am flyers on the table.
Hey, good morning, everyone. The planning for the Pro-Am is moving forward. We've got a great event lined up. We're looking for a few volunteers to help with the event. They're mostly afternoon at this point. Claudia sent out an email, so if you'll check that out, and if you have the time, please volunteer. We're also looking for a few silver sponsors. The silver sponsor is $100 and gets you a fabulous, and I mean fabulous sign. We have 25 people signed up for the event so far. It looks like we only have about 7 of our club members so far signed up to attend. It really is such a great event. We'd like everybody to show up if they can. So please join us for this really nice event. Thank you.
Thanks, Gene. 2 announcements real quick about May 5th. So next Friday, please don't show up here. We're all going to be at the Dublin Rec Center. So I'm sure you'll see an email about that again, but remember that if you would, next Friday, please show up in the morning at the Dublin Rec Center, and please come in the evening to my house first and then Mike Isler's. We're really excited about Cinco de Mayo. Things are going well on the planning. And remember, May 5th, first Dublin Rec Center, then at our house first. Also, I've been told by Lou Cherobi, he will only charge $20 if you want to park in his driveway instead of mine. But we are within walking distance for those of you who remember where Lou lives. With that, Claudia, do you want to take over as Sergeant at Arms here? Uh-oh, she's pressing Sharon.
Ready. Well, good morning. Whoa.
Yay.
Good morning again. While May 5th is an exciting day in Cinco de Mayo, May 6th is even better because it's Community Service Day. So we all belong to our community and we all love it, right? We've been working with the city, Christina Decchia, to assign us a project, and our project is beautification at the Grounds of Remembrance. How many people have been to the Grounds of Remembrance? How many people know who it supports? Our veterans? How many people have signed up to help? Good, because now I'll pass this around and you can sign up to help. It's going to be 8:30 to 11:30. If you can be there for 2 hours, that's fine. The weather's going to be 72 and sunny. How perfect is that? The city of... Who just laughed at me? Nobody wants to admit it, huh? You guys. No, and it really is supposed to be a lovely day. The city is providing, of course, all of the plantings. We have some interactors coming, but we need help. And so far we have, I think, 6 or 7 people signed up. We really need about 20. So please consider signing up, bring a friend. Anybody over 13 is welcome to join. You get a t-shirt. Hey, seriously, how good is that? I actually don't have a lot of material for today other than a begathon, which I just did. But I do want to see how many people are going to the district assembly. You know, the district assemblies are really important, right, Calvin?
Yes, ma'am.
Why are you going?
I'm in Hilton Head. Good excuse. Yeah.
District assembly is when we get a lot of information about what's going on, both at the district level and RI. And it's really actually pretty fun. Today it'll be at Columbus State, and then tonight at that's Memorial, which is kind of cool. And tomorrow that's Memorial. So everybody else that's not going to district assembly, $1, please. That includes you.
Yes, ma'am.
Past district governor. We have 2 guests today, Dana, who you've met, and Luke Thomas, who is Ingrid's friend.
Luke, would you mind standing for just a minute?
Sure.
Luke and I have had the privilege of working together for about 10 years now. He is with VMware, and I actually got to know Luke because of Mike Isler. So Luke, it's been a pleasure working with you. Would you mind just saying a word about Rotary? I know your daughter you might want to mention.
Sure. Actually, my daughter was a recipient of a Rotary scholarship, and she is actually graduating on the 13th from Xavier University. So that helps us along the way. Of course, I have two other children. We live here in Dublin since 2003. So I have two other children. One's a freshman in Butler and the other is a junior in Jerome. But as Ingrid mentioned, I've been with VMware for over 11 years. Mike, have you ever do that process?
But thank you for joining us. We'll see you.
Feel tethered here. Roberta, would you pick 2 tickets? We're gonna do the small pot, which is a big old $15. Would that be one that you don't want? There's the first one. Oops. And the big pot is $229. Like, I know. Coming. Okay. So you can put that there. And read this ticket number. Oh, please. Okay. Loud and clear. Is there a number here? There should be.
2332. 2332.
Yep.
Yeah. Sharon? He's so lucky. Do you want the small pot or the big pot? A chance for the big pot. Okay, I'll be over in a minute. And the next ticket? She's one of the luckiest people I know.
2359. Okay, Phil. 2359.
I'm sorry, who?
Phil.
Oh, Yoder. Okay, all right, and with that, thank you very much. Have a great day. Stay dry. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Volunteer.
We think we've got the message from Claudia to volunteer. Very good. Well, with that, Calvin, I'm going to ask you to come on up, introduce our speaker. We've been really fortunate to have Trent on the schedule. And we're looking forward to his update. So Calvin, if you wouldn't mind. Mr. Wolf.
That's all right.
Are you
Just give me the
visiting?
mic. He can just stay there.
Okay. Everybody
All right. Okay. All right. Okay, working. This morning, we have Trent Smith. Trent has been with the executive director of the Franklinton Board of Trade since January of 2010. The Franklinton Board of Trade serves. Bless you. And as we continue to go. You're still serving, are you, Trent? Okay, all right. It serves as a chamber of commerce for the Franklinton neighborhood, but unlike a traditional chamber, it is a 501c3 nonprofit. This status gives the Franklinton Board of Trade the latitude to do important community work based on the 3 pillars of focus: advocacy, unify, connect. In addition to business development, Trent organizes networking events, cleanups, beautification projects, socializing hours, and members and guest events. He works to create strong connections and relationships between the business community, nonprofit community, and the residents of Franklinton. The Franklinton Board of Trade also serves to manage the Franklinton Special Improvement District of Columbus, which is designed to provide full-time safety and cleaning services to a defined area of the Franklinton community. Prior to 2010, Trent spent 18 years as a wonderful banker. How about that, huh? Pretty good, huh? Yeah, yeah. Branch manager for West Banco in the Gahanna office. Part of his role there was to serve the community development outreach director, which is what brought him to Franklinton in the first place. Trent has had the opportunity to serve as a trustee on a variety of boards throughout his career, including the Neighborhood Design Center, East Franklinton Review Board, Community Crime Patrol, Habitat for Humanity, Gahanna Area Chamber of Commerce, Community Shares of Mid-Ohio, Lower Lights, which is a medical facility, Franklinton Development Association, Franklinton Area Commission, and Gravity 2 NCA Board. He is a resident of Franklinton, where he lives with his wife, Jonah, and his son, Quinn, and 2 rescue cats, Petals and Frankie. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would provide a very warm welcome for Trent Smith.
Thanks, Calvin. Well, Calvin, thanks for the invitation to be here with you guys again today. I forget exactly how long ago it was the last time I spoke to the group, but it's been a bit. And if anytime it's been longer than a couple weeks, things are different in Franklinton since the last time I talked. So, but yeah, I wanted to just talk a bit about us not being a traditional chamber of commerce, because it's an important part of who we are. And so back in the day, chambers of commerce were all called boards of trade. I think it's primarily because back in the day, most of the businessmen were tradespeople, blacksmiths, carpenters, whatever it was. And so that was kind of the name of the organization. And the Board of Trade was actually formed in 1904. And an interesting story is that the reason it was formed is that the railroad tracks that go across Broad Street, where, if you're familiar with where Spaghetti Warehouse used to be, the new Gravity Project, all those things, those were at grade level. And so the tradesmen, the businessmen in Franklinton, wanted unfettered access to downtown Columbus, because if they had to wait on a train, I mean, when you're coming through town like that, the train rolls by really slow. And so it could be up to an hour before they could get into downtown. So they created this organization. They made it happen to elevate the tracks. There was a big celebration in 1911 to celebrate that. Well, they were formed based on a project which was done, and so they had conversations about, well, we should just continue our work as advocates for the neighborhood. And the thing I liked about it so much is in the words that they used to describe what they wanted to do. It didn't just talk about business development; it talked about community development, including residents and schools, congregations, other nonprofit organizations, things of that nature. So we have continued that mission up through this point in our history. And I have a few things here that I want to just share with you to kind of describe a little bit more about the work that we do. And let's see. Should it just be enter to
Down arrow.
down arrow?
Right arrow, space bar. I don't know. There we go.
There we go. Okay. First of all, I want to recognize some of the trustees that we have on our board. This is from our 2022 roster of trustees, and you can see we have a really nice sort of a variety of different industries that are on our board. So we have banking, and actually Heartland Bank is where I first met Calvin when he worked there back in the day. Thompson Hine is a law firm downtown. Reading Rock plus CCL is a company that is in Franklinton that actually started back in like 1860 something. I forget the exact date. And COSI, of course, Mount Carmel Health System, and several other smaller businesses there that are all part of the fabric of the neighborhood. Our membership overview, this is where we get the majority of our funding to do the work that we do. So we have gold, silver, and bronze level sponsors, which are some of the larger corporations that just quite simply can afford it. And then we're very sensitive to the small business needs and some of the limitations that they have. And so we have a premium level and a general level for the smaller businesses in the community. And then these are our gold sponsors: Cover My Meds, Mount Carmel, Drain Master, which is a plumbing company, and West Banco, which is where I used to work. That was where I worked. So it's nice when you actually can leave a profession like that and not burn the bridge, and then they end up giving you $5,000 because of it. It actually worked out pretty well for us. So by a show of hands, who knew that T. Marzetti had production facilities in Franklinton? Did you know that? Okay, on Glenwood Avenue, T. Marzetti has production facilities in Franklinton. It's where they make all the dressings and things like that. And then Thrive, of course, is a developer. I'll talk a bit more about them, but they're the ones developing the former Mount Carmel West campus, where the hospital building came down and a lot of the ancillary buildings, and they're building a lot of single family homes in that area now. And then the bronze level sponsors, Yeah, Kaufman Development, with the gravity projects, River and Rich with the River and Rich apartments. And so, just a lot of great, support coming from a wide variety of organizations, whether they're in Franklinton or not. And then some of the community partners that we have, there are just a ton of nonprofits in Franklinton, all rowing in the same direction, which makes us quite unique. There's a lot of neighborhoods that have the similar challenges to what we have. And a lot of them just simply don't do a good job of working together to come to consensus to solve the problems. But these are examples of all the different organizations that we partner with. Calvin had mentioned Lower Lights. They actually have several different arms of their organization. They have a healthcare center. They have a ministry, which is outreach for addiction and human trafficking victims. And then they also have the actual church, the Nazarene Church. And then just a really wide variety of other organizations that all work towards making Franklinton a better place to be. And then as far as I already kind of alluded to it, but the wide variety of membership that we have in Franklinton, just an example of all the different businesses that are in Franklinton. I think a lot of people just kind of get the concept that there's not much variety as far as the industry that's present there. But we actually have a pipe organ company in Franklinton that's been there for decades. We have a professional recording studio in Franklinton that actually has national artists that come and visit every now and then and do some actual professional recording. And then, of course, all of the arts and all of the things that go with that. So one of the things that I want to talk about, because this is sort of the tie-in to what we do that directly impacts business development. In 2018, the Franklinton Board of Trade started the process to create a special improvement district for the community. And if you're not familiar with a special improvement district, they have two of them downtown. There's one in the Short North, there's one in the University District, and then a couple of other smaller ones, one on the east side and one up on Morse Road. But they are mechanisms to put a special assessment on property owners within the boundary, and that money gets collected, which then goes right back into direct services to benefit the businesses. And so this is the entire footprint of Franklinton. And then the red line represents the boundaries of the special improvement district. So as it goes with special improvement districts, we are the largest single district in Columbus. It's a fairly large area, which includes all of East Franklinton, the Mount Carmel West Campus, and then straight down Broad Street to Franklinton Square Shopping Plaza. And then we come up onto Sauder Avenue here to catch the Cover My Meds and the Orange Barrel Media developments. Some of the significant development that's happening in the community right now. I was talking to Calvin earlier, and when I first got here, and I went to the event that he helped organize for the Intel update that was a few weeks ago, and there's a need for affordable housing. I mean, we hear that every single day. Every time the news comes on, we talk about that. And one of the things that got said at that meeting, which really struck me, at first it struck me as insensitive, but then it really made a whole lot of sense to me. But she said that we don't have enough $1 to $3 million homes in Central Ohio. And that sounds kind of crazy because it's like, well, I'm trying to get homes for the people that really, don't make any money. What do we do about those guys? But when they explain it in the context that if the $3 million homes aren't available, then that buyer starts buying the $1 million home, or the next level down, the $500,000 homes, which puts pressure all the way down to the very bottom, so that at the end of the day, there is no affordable, decent housing left for people with very little means. And so one of the things that we're doing to address that is trying to create as many partnerships with developers, Finance Fund being one, Thrive being another, Kaufman, Casto, they're all involved in some way or another. But we're creating affordable housing for folks making 50 to 60% AMI, which is very low income. It's still on the high end when you really kind of look at the calculation and then factor in all of the other costs that comes with being successful in a home. But some of the ones that we have going on right now, there's one right in this area that was done by the Finance Fund. There's one right down here at Glen Broad. There's one being constructed currently right next to the fire station, 10 on West Broad Street. And then there are a multitude of single-family homes being constructed over in this area and within this area that are all part of the land trust program, which the land trust program, if you've not heard of that, it's a program by the city and the county, a partnership where they maintain ownership of the land and the home buyer owns the home. And the purpose there is that they get subsidized deeply to get the house at an affordable cost. But then when they end up selling it later on, whether that's 10 or 20 years later, they get appreciation out of it. They get the benefit of being a homeowner and getting the appreciation, but it's at a reduced rate because of the discount they got to buy the home in the first place. The reason for that is so that the next home buyer also gets an affordable deal to buy that same house. So it's not like that person buys it at a discount, gets all this appreciation, sells it for a bunch of money, and then moves on, and that house is now too expensive for someone else to buy. So it's a way to perpetuate the affordability of the homes in the neighborhood. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. So the main thing the special improvement district does, and this is what gets into the business development part of it. Over the course of the years, I've had any number of small businesses, large businesses, residents, whoever it might be, that want to talk about being in Franklinton. You know, they hear all the great things on the news. They see everything going on in the East Franklinton area, which is where, you know, COSI, Gravity, Land Grant, the art studios, all of that stuff is happening. And that feels like a relatively safe part of the neighborhood. If that's all you know Franklinton to be, it doesn't seem like that bad of a place. But when you start to look at west of 315 is where a lot of the challenges exist, which is where we spend a lot of our time working. And so the special improvement district, the purpose of for the assessments, the money being collected, is that we employ full-time cleaning ambassadors and full-time safety ambassadors. When a business would come down and ask me about a property here or a property there, we would always go look at it. They would always come in with kind of a positive attitude about it, but then they would see what the conditions surrounding it looked like. Illegal dumping in the alleys, illegal dumping of tires, you know, often just sitting on the sidewalks, overgrowth, you know, areas where trees and bushes and honeysuckle has overgrown so badly that we actually are missing parking spaces because of it. And so we have done a lot of work since the beginning of those services in June 14th of 2021 is the first day we had it on the ground. And so we've had a lot of incredible results, but this is just for calendar year 2022. And this was with an average staff of 2 full-time cleaning ambassadors. We collected almost 68,000 pounds of trash. 31 or almost 32,000 pounds of dirt and rock off the sidewalks, which that sounds like a crazy number. And a lot of people don't know what I mean when I say that. But when you think about the decades of neglect that Franklinton went through and all of just the crud that got just put on the sidewalks and never touched again, we started cleaning that stuff off there because our point is to make it look attractive, but also make it safe and make it feel safe. So graffiti abatement is something else we do a lot of focus on. And then tires removed just in 2022. Just in 2022, we did 260 tires. And that's not including other programs that we partnered with SWACO and the Franklin County courts and things like that, where we actually did other tire roundups. And then the other one that really blows people's mind is almost 54,000 pounds of yard waste. So that's honeysuckle, tree branches, cutting grass, collecting leaves. Franklinton has a lot of really mature trees, really huge mature trees. So when fall comes, it is an epic issue to get all of the leaves up. We never get all of them, but you know, from what we could get, it was almost 54,000 pounds. And then these are 2 other programs that we work with here in partnership with other organizations to do similar work. And so you can see the numbers there for those 2 results. But one that I want to talk about a little bit is the Cleaner Columbus program, because that is one where it's a grant from the city of Columbus, and it gives us the ability to pay folks in the neighborhood who need income, they need financial assistance. We can pay them $15 an hour to pick up trash in their areas. Well, we did that a couple of times, just partnering with individual residents. And this third time around, the one that we just finished up, we did a partnership with Sanctuary Night. And if you've not heard of that organization, it's a nonprofit organization on Sullivan Avenue that is dedicated to being a drop-in center for human trafficking victims. Because if you've heard anything on the news at all about Sullivan Avenue, it is a real problem spot for human trafficking, drug activity, things of that nature. And so what these guys did is they started a nonprofit, and they decided to put the nonprofit right in the middle of where the problem exists. And so we've seen really incredible results from that. And of those people that I hired to do the pickup program for us, this one went from December of 2022 to we just finished it up Wednesday of this week. I actually was able to hire 2 people to work for me full time for the Special Improvement District. And so it really is, you talk about humanitarian efforts with all the thing that Rotary does. It really, that to me is a very important part of what we do, because we don't discount the folks who are really often looked at as the problem in the neighborhood. We look at them as a victim of what's going on in the neighborhood and trying to pull them into being part of a solution. And so we're really proud of the fact that we were able to employ those folks. They did incredible results. The feedback about what Sullivan Avenue looked like between the start of that program and the end of that program has been really amazing and positive. And then we ended up having 2 people coming to us getting a full-time job. And it was really great. The one guy that just started working, the most recent guy that started working for me, he gets paid $17.50 an hour, which is a pretty good starting wage for what they do. But he told me after his first paycheck, which wasn't even an 80-hour paycheck, that was the largest paycheck he ever got. And so those types of impacts are things that we are extremely proud of, and things that we want to continue to foster and grow over time. And again, it all goes back to business development. The more we can get those people off the street, doing productive activities, making money, paying rent, buying groceries at the store, that just makes that much more possible that new development is going to come in right after it, and it's going to feel okay to be there. And these are some of the results of some of the before and after pictures. So if you looked at this on Broad Street, that's a pretty normal look on Broad Street, or it used to be a pretty normal look on Broad Street. And it's easy to just overlook it. It's easy to just kind of like not even pay attention to it anymore. But we've really done a lot of work to really kind of detail Broad Street to make it extremely noticeable to everyone that people are paying attention. Because in addition to the safety ambassadors, which do professional safety patrols for the obvious reasons that you would think we would have safety ambassadors, this is another huge component of the safety factor of the neighborhood. Because when it looks clean, it looks like it's being paid attention to, it looks like people are actually, being productive participants in the community. It just is safer. The perception then becomes the reality. This is another example. This is down by, I think I might have skipped one. No, this is down by Land Grant. You can see Land Grant back there in the corner. Again, an example of, so this is the walkway that would get you from the Peninsula development where all those new apartments are going to be. This is the walkway that brings you under the railroad bridge and then over to Land Grant. And so making that an approachable walkway, you can see where you're going. You don't worry about if somebody hanging out behind a tree. You know what I mean? There's a lot of factors that go into walking around Franklinton and feeling safe about it. And so clearing it, making it high visibility and clean is a big part of that. This is behind Franklinton Square Shopping Plaza. Again, the reason we cleaned this up is that on the other side of this tree is a senior citizen home, which is affordable housing for seniors. And I was giving a talk one day at Gladden Community House to the senior group. And this woman was asking me, what can the city do about clearing that off? Because when she comes around the corner, people come flying out of the back of the parking lot, and it's often pretty unsafe for, especially someone who a little unstable on their feet, or maybe using a cane or a walker, to come around that corner and not get hit by a car. And so I said, well, I don't know what the city can do about it, but I know what I can do about it. And so the next day I sent my guys out, and we whacked all that down. So again, that's just ongoing maintenance. And it all goes back to just the quality of life issues for all of the residents of the community. This is another one. This is more detail work behind land grant. Yeah, I guess we did a lot of work on land grant during the time I was getting these before and after photos. And then community events. So the other part of what we do, which is really important, other than the advocacy, the beautification, is the connection. So that's the third tenet of our mission: advocate, beautify, connect. All of these different programs are ones that are currently active in Franklinton, and ones that we are participants in, supporters of. We provide equipment, we provide resources, we provide volunteers, all of the things of that nature that just make these events more and more possible. And I know I'm probably getting close on my time, and I really am just about done here. Or maybe I am done. Oh, no, I wanted to show a couple of pictures here. So the networking that we do is a lot of fun. Calvin's been to a bunch of our luncheons before. He can speak to the level of enthusiasm and activity and participation that we get in our luncheons and our networking events. But these are just examples. We did a fundraiser to raise money for PTSD treatment programs at Vets Memorial. I think somebody mentioned Vets during some of their comments, which is in Franklinton. This is, if anybody knows the name Dewey Stokes, the former Franklin County Commissioner that was a commissioner for forever. We actually ended up doing a podcast with him and another historian in the neighborhood, which are on my website. So if you go to Franklinton, BOT.org, at the bottom of the homepage, you'll find links to 4 podcasts that we did, and Dewey was part of one of them. And then this is an example of photos of our large gala fundraiser that we do every year, which is this year is going to be on August 31st. It'll be at COSI. And if you know the name Mike Curtin, the retired editor of the Dispatch, he was also the associate publisher. He'll be our keynote speaker. So we're really looking forward to that. He's a longtime West Sider, grew up on the West Side. I can't wait to hear what his comments are going to be. And then we actually had Mayor Coleman show up at one of our ribbon cutting events for one of the new businesses that we welcome to the neighborhood.
Trent, did you have any questions?
So yeah, so with that, I'm going to stop and take any questions that you might have.
I'll
Go
ask
ahead.
the first one.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, because I really don't know all of your borders, but there's wonderful breweries, distilleries. Are any of those in Franklinton?
So the only breweries that are in Franklinton would be Land Grant, Brewdog, and Taft's. The only one that brews beer in Franklinton would be Land Grant. Brewdog brews it in Canal Winchester, and Taft's brews it in Cincinnati. But yeah, the distilleries you're talking about, they are just a rock's throw from us, just in Grandview, but like High Banks, Watershed, I think they're over in the downtown area. But yeah, the Land Grant's the only one that actually brews beer in the neighborhood.
Good neighbor?
They are a wonderful neighbor. They are what I refer to as the model business partners, because when they showed up, they asked me, how can we help you? Instead of me coming to them and saying, hey, you're a new business in town, now that you're settled, do you think we could, count on you for some support and this and that? It was the opposite. They came to me proactively and asked me what they could do to help. So, and that's a good point as well, is that, as Rotarians, I know that you guys look for a lot of community projects, a lot of ways to get involved. I know that when Hallie and I were both going to Columbus Rotary together, we did a project where we cleaned up Franklinton Youth Park, which is where the kids from Gladden Community House play Pee Wee baseball and softball. And we did a big project down there where we cut a bunch of trees down, pulled a bunch of weeds. We actually bought a bunch of dirt to reclay the infield for the kids. And so anytime you guys might have an idea or a desire to come to the neighborhood and do a project like that, I mean, I could think of 1,000 things that we could end up having you guys do that would be really impactful for the community and really give you guys sort of an eye-opening view of like what it's like and the changes that we're trying to make. Any other questions?
Trent, are you working with Tom Hefner and his project?
Love Tom Hefner. Yeah.
Would you speak for just a quick minute on the Christian ministry that he's offering and the opportunity for these young people?
Yeah, Tom Hefner has a program called Franklinton Rising. And they came through Central Ohio Youth for Christ, or they're affiliated in that way. And Tom designed this to be a educational outreach program to at-risk youth who were either in danger of not graduating high school, or even if they were going to graduate, would not have much to look forward to after that. And so Franklinton Rising, their model is that they either they try to get houses donated, but if they don't get them donated, they buy them at a steep discount. And these are like really bad. These are houses that got to be gutted, like gutted all the way to the studs, and then rehabbed. And so what they do is they acquire the house, they gut it, and then they partner with contractors, electricians, plumbers, drywallers, all of the things. And these guys agree that they will show these students how to do what they do as they're doing it. Now, does it double the time it takes to make that the house get done? Sure. But these kids graduate this program with a certificate, and then it's Ohio Power Tool then gives them a bag of tools, like all the basic tools that you would need to be a carpenter, or whatever it is you had the most interest in. And then they have the ability to then go get apprenticeship program, get into apprenticeship programs because of this certificate. So they've had it was mostly young men that were going through the program initially. They've had several young women that have gone through the program and graduated. And the work that they do, the finished product is beautiful. They do a lot of houses on, I think they've done 5 on Chicago Avenue. They have 1 more in process, and they've done some on other streets. So yeah, that's a great program. I'm glad you brought that up.
Part of the beautification.
And it's absolutely part of the beautification. Every time we can make a bad looking house look a little bit better, it's all part of the process.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Trent, thank you very much for being here and for being our speaker today. We are going to close with a closing quote. The greatest reward of doing is the great opportunity to do more. Thank you. Have a great week.
Yes.